All right, so today we are actually looking at leadership in Africa, and of course, is iconic leader in Africa, right? He took the country from scratch. Of course, the continent as Africa has its own problems per how we came about. But we have those whom are just there to destroy the continent, destroy their own country, and then others whom are also doing their best. And this man came to office in a hard time. All eyes were on his country for negative news. Once a soldier is always a soldier. So, as a military officer, you will expect some kind of dictatorship, some kind of criticism not being accepted. He is a great man in Africa. It could be a debatable as to whether he is a great leader in Africa or not. But we, Time of Africa and African leadership, will tell you he is one of the best leaders Africa as a continent ever had, and the people of his country ever had. Is Paul Kagame a good leader for Rwanda? Maybe let me try to make it as simple as I can for you to understand where we are coming from and how. Looking at the leadership crisis we have in Africa as a continent and choosing Paul Kagame to be one to be celebrated African leadership. We look at Paul Kagame in two parts. Paul Kagame as economist and Paul Kagame as a politician. Paul Kagame in Rwanda appears like a God-sent angel to the Rwanda. For a military to take over the nation, it means things are not going well. We can classify him as angel to the people of Rwanda. I can boldly say that Paul Kagame is not a politician, but he is the CEO of Rwanda. Every CEO of a company aim is to turn his company around. Paul Kagame took a country from scratch in 1994, which is not palatable to be remembered. He may be an autocratic, nobody can criticize him. If you see somebody criticizing Paul Kagame, just know that the person is not from Rwanda. Of course, you may understand where Paul Kagame is coming from as a military officer and who served under the leadership of Mr. Kaguta in Uganda, who is a dictator, autocratic, nobody criticized him. Same way Paul Kagame, serving as a vice president, he was seemed to be a de facto leader, a dictatorship. He was in charge of security. So in 2000, he became a substantive president in Rwanda. Of course, his boss, Bizimungu, was forced to resign because of what were happening in the country. I can say Paul Kagame has two characteristics. Paul Kagame as a person of economist, Paul Kagame as a person of politician. Rwanda population at the time of genocide in the 1994 was around 8 million. The death of genocide in 100 days were told up to 800,000 people. That was how bad it is. The country was devastated. People were dying day in and day out. Houses were burned, demolished, bridges rose, blocked, breaking down, such that nobody can run away from the country. This were how Rwanda people live under the leadership of Bizimungu. So with the victory of Kagame, 2 million people have to run away from Rwanda to Congo with the fear of retaliation. So in a country of 8 million population, 2 million were killed. Rwanda has a bad history. Rwanda has experienced bad leadership, bad history before Kagame came in. He first of all sees himself not to be a politician, rather himself as an economist in order to rebuild Rwanda. So his focus is not to see himself as a leader. So if you call Paul Kagame as a dictator, yes, he may be a dictator, but his dictatorship or his autocratic leadership is not about for himself. His autocratic leadership is about how change life for his people. And that is how every leader must lead. And that is how every leader is supposed to be. You should look at the welfare of your people, what you can do for your people to live better, but not for you yourself. And that's how he are able to stay in power till date, from 2000 to 2024. The last election, he had almost 99% of vote. His contender has 0.58%. So this is the leader we're talking about. I'm just making this historic background for you to understand where Rwanda been and who the Paul Kagame is. Paul Kagame stood on his ground to turn things around in Rwanda, to make Rwanda to be one of the best and cleanest Africa country. One would have seen Rwanda to be a very tough place because Rwanda had this bad history. This was seen to be Rwanda's civil war. I'm just telling you this background for you to appreciate the kind of man that we are talking about today. To tell you that from 800 million population, 1 million was dead and 2 million refugees. Infrastructure was non-existent. Power and water. Kagame took a control of a country, Rwanda, from scratch. Kagame as an economist look around Rwanda as a nation. What can he do to bring life and properties back? The harm has been caused. What he has to do to make within some shortest possible time Rwanda will tend to be a country that everybody will want to see. So he started providing healthcare, providing education, and the GDP of Rwanda. As we speak, the country is one of the safest countries in Africa. The cleanliness in the country is remarkable. The corruption level is as low or lowest in Africa. The economic growth is one of the best in the world, and this is the man turning things around for his country. And these are the facts. You cannot deny that. He is a great leader in this regard. As for Kagame as a politician leader, he is a dictator. No doubt about that. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. He is a dictator. He changed the constitution of Rwanda to enable him to stay to 2034. He is always using the memory of genocide as a taboo. The same way Israel used the Holocaust. You will not see any criticisms from Rwanda. Once you see somebody criticizing him, just know that this person doesn't live in Rwanda. Paul Kagame is an exception to dictators. A dictator does really care about his country and his people. The economical growth in the world and expect more growth in the coming years. This is the man we are talking about. Under the Paul Kagame leadership, they not practice corruption, and that is one of the most surest African country in the low rate of corruption. Paul Kagame gained a reputation of incorruptibility in Uganda under the leadership of Mr. Kaguta in Uganda. Unlike other African countries, corruption is just like water, people buying here and there taking. In Rwanda, under the leadership of Paul Kagame, you dare not try that. As it stands now, in the continent of Africa, it will be debatable that Paul Kagame is not a great leader in the African countries. It will be a debatable. And this is the man that makes his country a very cleanest city and beautiful city in Africa. Paul Kagame, we in the term of Africa and African leadership say, thank you very much, Ayiko. But one thing we have for you, if you overstay in power, people become fed up with you. And the moment people become fed up with you, they begin forgetting the good things you did and the good things you have done. So we will say, it's about time you let other people come in. You have stabilized the country, you have grown the country. Everybody across the African countries indeed proud of you. So we are adding our voice to the voiceless of Rwanda. We are adding our voice to the dissenting voice of Rwanda and asking you that you pave way for other people to come. 23rd of October is your birthday. We wish you happy birthday in advance, and may you live long. May you see the good things others have to offer to the good people of Rwanda and Africa for that matter. Thank you very much. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channels. YouTube is Das News GH, X, Instagram Das News GH, and Facebook is @Das News GH. Thank you very much, and God bless you.